just the issue on the motion to vacate, just that.
Okay, Mr. Rowe's characterization of the facts are so far off that you know it's I'm calibrating. First of all, the fact that he reached out to VA representatives uh, without my knowledge would go to underline his the fraudulent inducement. I didn't have the guy on speed dial and had no idea, and he never represented and all of that stuff is privileged. So I'm going to be careful with that. Although the fraud may underline it all, and you know it's pretty clear in Westcott versus Westcott that the court noted that fraud, deceit, artifice, or trickery employed in procuring a complaining party's consent to a voluntary judgment or decree entered pursuant to a fraudulently procured agreement is regarded as extrinsic fraud, which would wipe out that 1 year issue. Plenty of case law on that. So it's kind of bothersome to me, and I'm pretty sure to anybody else who will get these transcripts, that you're going to walk in and say, "Hey, I did everything improper. Forget the rules of professional conduct." I can go up and down that because then I read it. I said, I just can't believe this guy even have the bar license. But at any rate, he's not arguing against the fact that he intentionally kept from me the idea that he was going to try to resolve matters for unrepresented parties. And that, I believe, also was a misrepresentation because we didn't discuss anything that had anything to do with a date other than January 16th, 2017, which is when Chandra Tucker even said in her deposition, "I saw you, I roll stop into your vehicle. I wasn't distracted, and I had full control of the vehicle," which this court said wouldn't even rise to the issue of me arguing punitive damages. If the issue is about the Tuckers, we're finished. That release in this court would refuse, kind of like somebody else to answer certain questions out here in the political sphere, to answer if the release and the stipulation mirror each other. They don't. Hence, I don't know if you're just hearing this for the first time, Ms. McLemore, because I see the look in your face. If the issues mirrored, we wouldn't have a discussion because I don't sign the stipulation because I'm saying, okay, if it's about the 16th, which is what we discussed, without going into all the other details we discussed. And by the way, I would appreciate you, Mr. Rowe, not speaking to what my rights are as a veteran because I'm entitled to the care anyway. And so we didn't negotiate the lien because I didn't even know that was a part of the issue. A lot of this I found out once I got there because I wouldn't even have shown up. Secondarily, when a concealed fact is material to a transaction, if a contract would not have been entered to but for the concealment, and go to Casey versus Cohen, 740SO2D 59 and 62. And also for the first one, I think I failed to give you the pin site, the Westcott versus Westcott, where the court noted that fraud, deceit, artifice, trickery employed in procuring a complaining party's consent to a voluntary judgment or decree entered pursuant to a fraudulently procured agreement is regarded as extrinsic fraud. The pin site is 444SO2D 495, 498. And also, it's well settled, and this is a Florida court case that goes back as far as time, almost 46. We emphasize that extrinsic fraud on the court includes fraudulent representation of a party without his consent and connivance in his defeat. I'm going to rely on the law, which is kind of strange that the non-lawyer is in here talking about the law, where I got this guy who's an attorney talking about everything he tried to do to just keep from being straight up. And candidly, if the Tuckers had 1/10 of the information that I have, they would be pretty irritated. We're still moving forward when they had, which is not necessarily wouldn't have been an issue for the jury, a policy that could have taken care of the issue. The underlying issue is Dr. Shem had a duty to disqualify himself as a CME. And but for the fact that during one of the hearings, an Austin Rowan basketball attorney stated, we've had other cases, unrelated cases, where a patient will treat at the VA, see Dr. Shem, and nobody raised the issue. Everybody in the world knows that if nothing else,